we doing? I hope all's well with you. I just wanted to do a video because I had some energy. I'm going to answer some questions, and this is great for beginners to pros. When you pick out a guitar, either your first guitar, your next guitar, because there's always another guitar. Well, if you're a pro, or if you kind of know what you want, you're intermediate and you're looking for your next guitar, or you're a beginner and you have no clue where to start, this is your video. So here we go. Oh, it's behind me. So if you are a pro, already you're going to think about picking out the type of body that you want. Now, if you're playing country music, you're going to be doing a wide body guitar. If you're playing heavy metal, you might be playing a less polished type of guitar. If you're doing the thud of a grunt, of a hardcore type of metal, there's an 8-string. All different pickups. Oh my God, so where do you start? Well, the pros, or people who already kind of have an idea what they like or what type of music they're playing, rock and roll, heavy metal, already turn to one of these guitars. They will also know the fretboard, if it's going to be a maple, an ebony, or likewise dark type of wood for the fretboard. Also, you will know if you want to have frets on your fret indicators on your board as well. If you notice, this 8-string has no fret indicators, where these other ones do, and in different shapes. Trapezoids, dots, shark teeth, trapezoids again, right? So coming into a pro, they're going to know the type of body they want, the type of wood on the body. These woods are also different too, where you have mahoganies, or what is that, basswood, or different types of exotics. There's all these different types of wood, especially with the hollow body or semi-hollow body of this jazz box here. So there's going to be a different type of woods involved too. So if you're a pro, you're going to know what type of body shape, you're going to know what type of wood you want, and you're also going to know the type of fretboard. Now, the fretboard is not the only thing that a pro or somebody who knows what they're looking for. They're also going to want to know the back of the neck here, which they call the heel. On the guitar, there's very little heel. This guitar, there's a sloping heel. But with the Les Paul, it's a thick guitar anyways. When you get into one of these shark-looking guitars, like the Flying V or the Randy Rhoads RR3, they have hardly any heel, which they call that an easier access. If you look at my Charvel here in white, it's got a huge heel. Not only does it have a huge heel, but there was no attempt to make the heel anything but square. Opposed to, if you look at this and that, there's just none. It's shaved off, where there's no attempt to shave off the Charvel. So people who are players already know this. So if you're going to go and want a Charvel, you're going to have to realize that your heel is going to be big. If you're going to play a Les Paul, you're going to have less of a heel, but it's going to be a really heavy guitar. You also have to decide, Les Pauls really don't come in any kind of blonde fretboard. So, and people choose the fretboards for their fingering because they believe that it feels, well, it's their belief that it feels different on their fingers, and it makes them play different. I actually believe the same thing, but some people just think that's just in your head. Tonalities of wood on the actual bodies make a difference. So do the thicknesses. But again, that depends on what type of music you play. You'll find that if you listen to or play blues or rock, whatever that musician's playing, you can almost guarantee a lot of times buying a similar type of instrument will get you in the genre. And it's not just the size of the guitar, meaning the body. It's not just the how many frets it is, or if it has a fretboard, or what color fret indicators, or what type of material it is, or even the headstock if it gets in your way to play as you are fingering lower in on the board here. It's none of those things. It's actually could be the type of pickup it has, the type of pot in the volume and the tone. If you're a chugger, meaning you play thick heavy metal type of, you're going to put your hand, rest your palm muting, on your bridge, which is easy to do on these types of guitar that are made for it. But if you have guitar 80s heavy metal here, it's really hard to palm mute a Floyd Royce tremolo. A lot easier on these fixed bridge. And you're not going to palm mute a jazz guitar. Well, you are, but it's not going to be for any kind of chugging in any kind of speed metal atmosphere. So you get the idea. Those are the things you'll think about. Another thing to think about, aside from aesthetics, is where your hand rests. And this is a key thing. This is a pro tip that pros don't even really often go to, is that when your hand is resting on here, where your pick is. And you ask me, well, what does that matter? Yes, it matters the type of bridge, the type of pots, and all this other stuff, and the type of wood. But when you go to hit harmonics with your pick, meaning if you hit the string really hard and you can get it ring beyond its actual tone, but you get the high pitched harmonic, well, that's only in certain places on the string. On this guitar, the highest pitched harmonics, the most loudest, is actually on this pickup right around here. My guitar teacher had a bunch of dots on his guitar for all the different pitches of harmonics that he was tracking for an album he was doing, and that way he can do it really quick on the fly. Different guitars are different. Okay, so when they make the guitar, the harmonics and where it lands is totally at the naturalization of the guitar. Everybody deals with this if you're playing wow, 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 you're hitting the good pick, but you won't get that in a good sweet. It's not going to be just here or wherever your hand mutes and you have your pick at the natural flow of your hand. It doesn't work that way. It's at the build of the guitar. So that is something to look for. So if you are buying a guitar at a guitar store, that is a key thing that you would look for. Again, when you buy a guitar and you know your genre, they usually will put the pickups, the pots, the volume, the type of strings. A lot of times it's also the fretboard and how thick the frets, the metal frets themselves are. Between standard and jumbo and extra jumbo and all these different sizes that there is. A lot of that thought and a lot of those decisions you have to make as a pro or beginner or anywhere in between is already done for you by the the guitar manufacturer and or the type of guitar you buy. So I'm not really into buying guitars from like signature guitars. I do have the Randy Rhoads there. It didn't have his pickups. It didn't have his anything. It had similar style of one of his guitars, but it wasn't, not even. Now not Randy Rhoads, but Eddie Van Halen would do everything to spec, and you can just get off the shelf and get one of his guitars that he would actually play. But no. So I don't have too many of those, and I really wouldn't recommend too many of the guitars that are actually branded by somebody. But what you do get, let's say a Brad Paisley, I was thinking of, when you buy a guitar that maybe is a Brad Paisley guitar, signature guitar, you're going to get the type of pickups he's signing off, the type of guitar, the wood, so that's what you get. And as a pro, as they get better, they buy stuff that they really, really want. What is I frown upon, and it doesn't make sense to me, is buying a guitar, changing out the pickups, changing out the bridge, changing out the tone and the volume and all that other stuff. Because why even buy a guitar? Why not just, or buy a super cheap one and then do it all out? But why even do that when you could just build one yourself? It's not that hard these days. And you can send out plecking. That's the fretboard getting manufactured with a machine, a metal machine that just cuts the frets perfectly. And but so you could do that and really get a guitar you really like and get it painted the way you want. But buying a guitar off the shelf, those are the things you would be looking for. If you're the type of person like me, when I go out and look for a guitar now, I'm looking for something different. So it might be a pickup that I don't have, or a pickup configuration with woods that I don't have. But it's not just the woods and the pickups. I'm already got the tones in my head as well. And that'll be people who are frequent players with multiple equipment will already have a lot of tones in their head, and they're just trying to fill in different tones they might need or might want, or just for fun. And that's what I do, because I already have my tone, I already have my sound. Everything else is just for fun, which I can mimic on different machinery, but I choose not to. What's the gear geek in that? So there you go. That answers a lot of questions on buying a guitar. The size of the body of the guitar will depend on a lot of times, unless it's an acoustic. This is just electric guitars, on the type of music you're playing. So that shouldn't be an issue of picking the size of the guitar. The strings and everything are determined by the type of music you're playing, along with the frets, along with the fretboard, and all that. So it really makes it easy, because you can just look at the type of music that you like to play. Now, if you're playing a generation, just a general type of music where you want to play multifunctional types of music, so you'd want a guitar like the Gibson Les Paul I have there, the one that's in gold now. It's kind of more, it's a goldish green. And why I say that is because it is a middle of the road guitar. The pickups are not grindy. They don't, when you turn into any kind of amp, it's not going to lend a tone any direction. It's going to be what you're going to play. If I was to plug in the 8-string or the Charvel, the Flying V, or the Randy Rhoads, or the Jazz, all those are almost predetermined tones. So the Les Paul is one that is less predetermined tones. Now, what somebody would do is change the pickups in that so they can get a different tone with my Les Paul, because we all know what the Les Paul tone is. So those are things, that variations that people do. But what you'll have to do, and what you find is neglected, is change the tone and change the volume pots too, to match those pickups. And sometimes buying pickups that actually sound good with the woods that you're actually doing, and the type of music you're playing. Anyways, I'm just talking too much. I just wanted to give you a good standard way of looking at your guitar. The bridge that comes on it, and the tuners where you tune the strings, and the size of the strings, all that stuff you should have to change out. If you're buying a guitar for the type of genre or the type of music you're playing, and you spend a good enough amount of money, or not even, I got guitars by Mitchell that costed $200 that I will say they're some of the best guitars that I've ever got to play. They don't sound the best amplified, or recorded by, but actually playing them with friends in in my studio, it just blows people away. Put your fingers on it. But then again, when you start talking high end, spending $2,000, $3,000, $4,000, $5,000 on a guitar really does make a difference when it comes to recording and stuff. But that should give you guys a good start, Gear Geeks. You guys take care, love, peace, and chicken grease. Come on and